Boldwood presents The Enforcer, written by Zara Cox and read by Josh Witchard and Naomi Wood. Chapter 1. Rafaele. An extremely proficient killing machine. That was what was written in the points of interest section of my military file. The file I broke into my commanding officer's desk to peek at one night when I was bored out of my skull. I never told another living soul, but I was damn proud of those handful of words. Enough to keep me grinning and killing for months. And years. Hell, I'm grinning now, as I settle onto my belly on yet another cold concrete floor. And wait. It doesn't take more than a handful of seconds for the grin to slide off my face, though. For fury to erode mirth like battery acid eats through flesh. For memory to tear chunks out of my temporary levity. It always does. Hovering in the wings like some fucking demon vampire, ready to suck the joy out of every moment. These days it feels like a competition, this push and pull. A fight to find puddles of bliss in an abysmal landscape, only for the demons to swing by and take a crap at it. And lately, it hurts to admit, but lately I seem to be losing. Ever since my older brother, Cesar Salvatore, former Formula One racer, Underboss of the Salvatore organization and heir apparent to our multi-billion-dollar empire, opened his arms out wide and invited the enemy into his bed. Into our lives. That enemy is now his wife, my sister-in-law. Oh, as much as I want to hate her, Maddalena Mancinelli, now Maddie Salvatore, is good people. And she deserves props for holding her own in a family that wouldn't have hesitated to rip her throat out and feed it to the specially built pond of piranhas my nano commissioned as a Christmas present for himself 3 years ago. The one he salivates about dropping some traitor schmuck into, James Bond style, the first chance he gets. Doesn't matter that we've tried to tell him that's not how piranhas operate. They don't chomp on human flesh just for shits and giggles. When it comes to getting what he wants, Don Orazio Salvatore Cosa Nostra down to his very marrow, lets very little stand in his way. And for reasons I'm still stumped by, he decided giving Caesar and Maddie's Romeo and Juliet-style hookup his blessing was the right thing to do. For the sake of family, and because being on Nano's shit list was a hard no thanks, I had to fall in line. But as my commanding officer would attest, there's falling in line for regular assholes, and there's the way I, Rafaele fucking Salvatore, the enforcer of the Salvatore organization, choose to fall in line. Do I admit the other reason why in my quiet, secret moments? Sure I do. The thing is, Caesar was born first, the heir who knew his place and his destiny. I have zero problem with that. But being born within months of each other meant we could have been twins, made us close. So close I became a shadow. That's the problem with shadows. People tend to forget they're there until they move. Or act. So when the opportunity presented itself to act, to use that shadow for more than standing in my brother's limelight and destiny, I took it. To protect my family against our enemies. Against the uglier parts of the world no one liked to talk about. I became proficient at it. Hence my presence on this roof. Because I sure as fuck am not lying down and taking all that loved-up kumbaya crap. Not when the person who took my mama, the most important person in my life, still walks this earth, breathing free air. An irony of motherfucking ironies. That person, too, happens to bear the surname of my family's worst enemies, Giada Mancinelli. I would have preferred the original eye for an eye, but the mother to the Mancinelli brats is of very little consequence. On her best days, Vittoria Mancinelli moves like a shadow of whatever the fuck she used to be. On her worst days, she's like a character from The Walking Dead. Whatever Bonifacio, the head of the Mancinelli family, or El Topo, as he's derisively nicknamed, and his son have done to the woman over the years, I sense she'll be very briefly mourned, if at all, and promptly forgotten about should anything happen to her. Like a sniper round to the head from my rifle. And hell no, that won't do. I need this to hurt, to sear and torture and torment. I want it indelibly marked on their souls as Mama's loss is marked on mine. I need them to never take another breath without knowing the person they love is no longer breathing the same air. And with Giada Mancinelli having vanished off the face of the earth, And Vittoria not worth the effort? Here I am, playing eeny, meeny, miny, fucking mo. The most obvious choice is Matteo Mancinelli, El Topo's firstborn son, Underboss, and heir. I have a feeling I'd be doing everyone a favor by taking him out, because he too is an oppressor and abuser of women. He stood by while his own father signed off on his daughter's attempted assassination at her wedding, and the weasel has shown zero signs of remorse since then. Hell, he's boldly stepped into his father's shoes once El Topo realized his plans had failed spectacularly when we handed them their asses at our compound in Fallbrook, upstate New York, on that wedding night a year ago. With the FBI officially on El Topo's tail, ditto the Russians he foolishly got into bed with thinking he could best us, and us Salvatores hunting him down on the QT, he'd made like the rat he is and scurried underground. No matter. I have Matteo, his various siblings, or El Topo's other grandchildren. Jacinta, his third granddaughter, the lawyer who bends over backwards to get all the Mancinelli shitheads routinely out of the jail cells they seem to land themselves in on a regular basis. Or Narciso, Matteo's last-born and El Topo's only grandson, baby of the family, and the piece of shit who tried to take out not just Caesar, but my younger brother Renzo during the Las Vegas Formula One Grand Prix last year. And it isn't like that was his only attempt. At every turn, the Mancinellis have brazenly and consistently attempted to do my family harm. In the name of the family feud, it's either murky or heavily embellished depending on who was doing the narrating. And last but not least, and I absolutely refuse to acknowledge the fireworks popping beneath my skin when I think of her, Sofiya Mancinelli, the second Mancinelli granddaughter. The one Horatio asked me to keep an eye on, not having a clue she's been on my radar for the better part of 5 years now. The woman my grandfather calls strange, because she doesn't quite fit the mold of an obedient Sicilian progeny of a family steeped to the eyeballs in Cosa Nostra. The woman, I'm loath to admit, has become a subject of rabid interest, which has gained near obsession status in the last year. Moving her to the top of my revenge kill list will solve a host of problems. First, I'll feel a damn sight better than the hellish nightmare I've endured since finding out the circumstances of Mama's death weren't as clear-cut as I thought. Shit, I might even be able to finally sleep more than a 45-minute stretch. Second, it would be doing my family a favor and depriving the Mancinellis of a key threat in their admittedly shoddy protection, leaving them even more vulnerable and ready for the death blow that should have taken them out decades ago. Who cares that she fascinates me beyond reason? That the whispers I heard 2 years ago, the little traps I left on the dark web that she walked straight into, and the final confirmation in the last few months of just what Sofiya Mancinelli is, would have had me salivating under different circumstances. If she didn't have the fucking surname she wears so proudly. And all of this even before that gut punch of a fuck-hot body she loves to display with jumpsuits and catsuits, as if daring any red-blooded male not to stop and stare at the juiciest ass without losing their fucking minds. None of that matters, Stronzu. As the enforcer of my family's continued security and well-being, none of that should matter. I already dropped the ball once, allowing my mother to fall prey to our enemies. This is my chance to set things right. I breathe out, adjusting the scope of my sniper rifle with the ease of long practice, my finger brushing over the trigger like a lover's caress. The lens sharpens, and there they are. Narciso Mancinelli stepping out of his Ferrari F80, a little obvious in the boys' toy zero class department if you ask me. Beside him, Matteo. Both oblivious to the monster watching from the rooftop a quarter of a mile away. They walk around the car lost in their love of fast, showy cars, giving me ample time to weigh their fate. At the thought of avenging every single soldier we lost last year at Caesar and Mandy's wedding, when these assholes unleashed their cowardly carnage, my lips curve into another slow grin, snatching this piece of joy straight out of my demon's mouth. Eeny. I tilt the barrel towards Narciso, brash and mouthy, immature but with the potential to be a wild card and a pain in my ass down the road. Meanie. I shift to Matteo. Older, slower, soft-spined yes man. Miney. I flick back to Narciso, who's laughing about something, cocky as hell in his loud designer gear. Mo. My pulse doesn't even tick up. A strange kind of stillness lives inside me, cold and precise, dark as the shadow I was born into. This is what I made myself into, after all. The useful tool to deliver consequences, to balance the Famigia's bloody ledgers. My brother, maybe the golden boy, wins in the light. I do my winning in the dark with little applause, just the comforting silence of a job done right. I'm the perfect yang to his yin. Does it grate sometimes being painted that black? Sure. But knowing I'm keeping him and everyone I love safe, there's no greater honor. So I study their faces, the curve of their jaws, the way Narciso shoves his hands in his pockets and smirks like the world owes him a favor. Mateo glances behind them once, hand instinctively resting on his son's back, guiding him like he still believes he can protect him. I roll my neck and exhale slowly. I could end them both. Right here. Right now. Pop, pop. One breath. And yet, I hesitate. Will it feel different once it's done? Will the ache inside me dim, the ghost of my mother's final screams quiet? Or will I just be another man who traded one corpse for another? I should feel rage, fire, triumph even. All I feel is the soft breeze on my face and the slight sting of memory behind my eyes. Killing a Mancinelli will settle the score. But will it ever make the silence less loud? For fuck's sake, who cares about the storm of silence? Breathe in, breathe out, blink away the peppering stings behind the eyes. For you, Mama. I hope you'll rest peacefully after this. I settle the crosshairs on Narciso, but again I hesitate. Think about the son I was to my mother. Out of the 5 children she birthed, I'm the only one she gave her brown eyes to. The only one she shared the talents of cooking with. So yeah, I'm fucking special. She told me every day, and I wore that shit with pride. So fuck a treasure for a treasure, and if one death doesn't appease, I'll spree my way through the whole clan, wipe off the face of the earth. They spilled precious blood. They took my mother. Now I take the baby of the family. And one of the remaining siblings, why the hell not? An eye for 2, a tongue, a hand, a heart. I'm not fussy. Madeleine is a Salvatore now, and they're far off limits. There was a silent rule about old women and children. El Topo broke that when he killed my mother. Every Christmas I stare at the empty seat she'll never again occupy. The kitchen, haunted by the echoes of her happy humming and deep laughter as she made my favorite meal while I told her dirty jokes. It'd be no less painful when we remained in the dark about who killed her. Now we know. I'm the enforcer, the necessary hand of Salvatore justice. Tonight, I'm bringing vengeance that's as inevitable as breathing. The fallout will need careful handling, of course. Maddie would be upset, but she'll have Caesar to comfort her. But better to ask for forgiveness than permission, right? And who comforted me when my mama died? In a house full of hard men, she was our soft center, a soft place to land, a warm hug and a hot meal, customary ribbing about when I'd give her grandkids. My solemn promise that I would start actively working on it next week. The squint of her faintly wrinkled eyes before she kissed my crown and pressed second helpings on me. El Topo ripped it all away. I never even got to hear her last words. And that, perhaps most of all, is what flays my insides when I think of her loss. It's what Zara Mancinelli, the sister I've been unable to locate, is keeping from me. The one who holds the last piece of the puzzle surrounding my mother's death, including her last words. Last year, when Maddie told me she didn't know her 3rd younger sister's location, I'd believed she was covering for her family, protecting Giada from my righteous wrath. They still could be. So regardless of what happens here tonight, who I kill, my hunt for her can't stop, won't stop. My phone buzzes in my pocket and I grimace. I silenced it but didn't turn it off. Rookie mistake that's very unlike me. Sliding my hand into my pocket, I correct that error. I know who it is. Caesar calling to check up on me. Not out of some protective mother hen routine gone overboard, but because of the bullshit promise he'd made to his new wife about peacemaking. We'd all barely recovered from discovering that he'd gone over to the dark side. Fuck was I gonna honor some vow he'd made because he was eyeballs deep in his feelings? He's forgotten that I, too, had made a vow. As I stared down into Mama's beautiful, lifeless face, I'd vowed to bring her killer to a very gruesome end. No way was I gonna renege on that. Purpose affirmed, I let out a slow breath. I've pissed around long enough with which way to go with this. Both at his side. A bullet to the old man's spine, keep him alive but take away his mobility. His joie de fucking vivre, long enough for him to watch me take down a couple more of his brood before I finish him off. 3? 4? How many bullets would it take to salve the gaping wound in my chest? Innumerable, I suspect, but this is a start. A solid target instead of the blanket retribution my brothers and I had rained down on the city 6 years ago. 5 minutes from now, I'll light up my cigar and feel the brief glow of warmth. It's my first vice. Well, maybe my only. Pussy isn't really a vice since it doesn't rot your lungs. It might rot other parts for other men, but I keep my choice prime. I take an imaginary deep pull and grin in the dark. Feel the smoke swirl in my lungs. Just as the cold butt of a silencer kisses the space right behind my ear. Okay. Well, shit. This just got interesting. Chapter 2, Rafaele. The butt of a gun isn't a light, friendly kiss. It's French in my skull in a way that means dirty, sordid business. My hand doesn't move from the trigger, my eyes still trained on Sofiya Mancinelli. At least buy me a drink first. I murmur, wondering why my heartbeat still hasn't picked up. Am I already dead? Nah, you don't deserve a drink. I was hoping you'd make this more of a challenge. Thanks for making it so easy. I exhale more than imaginary smoke. I exhale a lungful of shock. Because it's not a man standing behind me, making conversation before firing a bullet into the back of my head. It's a woman, with a sexy as fuck voice I want to play in a loop. She scoffs softly. I know what you're thinking. You believe your chances have improved because I'm a woman. Since that was exactly what I was thinking, I shrug. I'm itching to turn around, look at her, just to confirm the absurd hope that the breathtaking body I've seen many times from a distance matches the sultry, cockstroking voice I've never heard before. Until now. Because if this is how I meet my end, then I'd rather it be at the hands of someone as beautiful as she is. My lips curve as I contemplate what could be my last moments. I've led an interesting life as far from mediocrity as I could get. And the biggest bonus of all, I'll get to see Mama again. Thinking of your last words? I chuckle. There was, but I'm thinking, what's the point? There's no one around to impress with poignant prose. I'm more interested in who the angel is ushering me into the afterlife. The nuzzle presses harder into my skull. Clever girl. You think I'm an angel? Her voice turns harsh. Still insanely sexy. Oops, have I offended you? Don't kid yourself. She tosses back, but the irritation is still there. But yes, I'm curious as to why you think I'm remotely angelic. I contemplate my answers and stick to the truth. I hate to be cliché, but you don't sound like my idea of the Grim Reaper. Not to say you're not an angel of death, but I prefer to imagine you as an insanely beautiful angel instead of a hooded pile of bones. I catch the barest hint of a snort before I'm prodded harder. I'm not going to tell her, because I'm not that much of an idiot, and her harsh treatment makes my dick hard. I wonder if she'll dally long enough for me to nut one last time before she kills me. Yeah, I'm not normal. Far from it. Who are you planning to kill tonight, and don't even think about bullshitting me? Back to being all business. I hadn't made up my mind, I answered truthfully. One definitely, both possibly. A sharp inhale, giving herself away. If she's who I'm beginning to think she is, without the hints of a reputation she's gathering on the dark corners of the web, she's too emotional. But then she's a rookie, I remind myself. You really want to die so badly? On the contrary, I enjoy breathing very much, and I would never lie to an angel. What I said is the truth. You want me to believe that the infamous enforcer just turns up with a random target in mind? Surprise stalls my breath for a millisecond. Yes, she says with a hint of gloat. I know who you are, just as I knew you'd be here. I haven't been betrayed because I've shared this side mission with no one, but I'm seriously impressed by her contacts and how she anticipated me being here tonight. Whatever surveillance she has in place is top-notch. Remarkably, that knowledge makes me even harder, bringing me one step closer to my goal of rubbing one out before I go. In that case, will you do me the honor of telling me who you are before you blow my brains all over this rooftop? Silence. The gun doesn't move from the back of my head, but I feel a waver. A dying man's wish, I say, pressing my luck. No, comes the firm reply. Fine, so what now? I take my finger off the trigger and relax further into the cold ground. You want something or you would have killed me by now, and don't ask me the same question again, my answer won't change. I know you're the enforcer, and I know he always has a backup plan. Tell me what you plan to happen if you didn't succeed tonight. My chuckle turns into laughter. If I'm the enforcer, under what circumstance do you believe I would divulge that? Silence stretches again. Under the possibility that I might consider not killing you. Yet. Okay, that's almost anticlimactic, because the second I turn, it's game over for her. Huh. And what do you intend to do to me in the meantime, Angel? I have other means to take you out of commission without killing you, and don't call me that. Tell me your name, then. Or at the very least, let me see your face. You're more concerned about seeing my face and knowing my name than you are about dying? We're all destined for death. And in our line of business, we meet our end sooner rather than later. If you're not reconciled to that fact, then you're not as clever as I think, Ducci. She inhaled sharply at the endearment. It wasn't a slip. While she'd been delaying what I'm beginning to think may not be my inevitable demise, I've been collating every scrap of information I have about her identity. I'm certain I know who my potential killer is. You're, she sputters. Her reaction all but confirms it. Yes, I am, Sicilian through and through, I say. Just like you, Sofiya Mancinelli. My pulse jumps, half elated, half resigned, with a shovel of danger-etched arousal thrown in. Because this just got exponentially more interesting. Turn around, she snaps. Her voice is altered as if she too senses the stakes have shot up, higher than ever. I turn around slowly, ensuring my gloved fingers are splayed open and well away from any dangerous object I could use to defend myself. She might yet shoot me, but she has questions, and I need to scope her out. I sense her surprise when she sees my masked face. I take my time in dragging my gaze up to hers and see. There are many entrancing things to admire on the way to meeting her searching eyes. Those killer boots she's wearing, for example. I want one leather heel pressed against my balls. Or those mile-long legs wrapped around my head as I eat her out like she's my last supper. Supple hips I want to sink my fingers into. A narrow waist I can easily encompass with my bare hands, and fuck, she's wearing a catsuit. Black as midnight, deadlier than the sniper's rifle resting above my head. As for her tits, well, they're simply a work of art. Michelangelo would weep at the sight of them. Oh, I just want to slap and bite and worship and suckle them until my jaw falls off. Are you being serious right now? She snaps. I'm not dead yet, Angel. Don't ask me to ignore a masterpiece in motion when it's right in front of me. Fuck, you're beautiful. I breathe when my journey ends on her face, and yep, Angel. Deadly, determined, divine, but angelic nevertheless. The silky black hair frames her face perfectly as she leans forward, the gun now cupped in her expert hands, aimed directly at my heart. I want to tell her to aim it higher, but I hold my tongue. Take off your mask, she orders. No can do, sweetheart. You want it off? Come over here and do it yourself. Her eyes burn unholy fire. How stupid do you think I am? I smile. I don't think you're stupid at all, but this is in the movies. I'm not going to kneel, or beg, or dig my own grave, or lift a motherfucking finger to make your job easier. So you'll have to satisfy that particular curiosity after you kill me. Besides, if you're just wanting to confirm my identity, I think you already know. So stop with the fucking games. Sofiya. I say her name softly, with the reverence it deserves this once, for getting one over on me. Her breath shakes out, but her finger remains steady and deadly over the trigger as my words and disclosure sink in. You know who I am? So I guess my question is, did you really come here to kill my family? There's dishonor in lying about this of all things. So I don't. Yes. The gun wavers a little more. A look flashes through her eyes. Then I can't let you live. Her lips part. She breathes out to steady herself. Then she pulls the trigger. Chapter 3. Rafaele. My body jerks, more in surprise than pain, although the 2 shots to my chest hurt like the bejesus. When this is over, if I make it out alive, I might give her props for pulling the trigger, not once, but twice, for having the balls to do what it takes to protect her family, even though in the end she'll lose. But now I hold my breath, absorb the pain with my eyes shut, and wait. Thank you, fuck, I'm wearing a custom-made bulletproof vest that cost me upward of $750,000. Playing dead is now far easier than it was that fateful day 6 years ago. Back then I was terrified out of my mind, filled with fury and horror because I knew I'd lost her. I screamed for a straight hour afterwards, cradling my mother's lifeless body in the aftermath. A hell of a lot more terrifying things have happened since then, also require me to play dead from time to time, but those things have been in my hands. Things I've had to do as the enforcer, but on my terms. So will this be. I sense her approach, hear her juddering breaths as adrenaline leaves her body and the full repercussions of her actions kick in. Does she regret it? Is she relieved? She's close enough that I hear her gulping swallow, smell her sublime perfume carried on the soft breeze. I'm not sorry. I hear her whisper under her breath. Not for protecting my family, especially not if I think you're who you are. Through the tiny slits in my eyes, I see her reach for my mask, still whispering, I'm not so. I punch the gun out of her hand. It skitters across the floor. She yelps in surprise and pain, her mouth gaping in shock. Before she can recover, I jackknife upright and lunge for her. Her reflexes are impressively sharp. My fingers graze her arm as she jumps back, slips out of reach. But the move sends her off balance. I sweep out one leg to knock her off her feet, but she anticipates that too. She backflips so perfectly I want to stop and applaud. But I want my hands on her more than I want to praise her antics. Luckily for me, she doesn't know every square inch of this rooftop the way I've learned it. She lands on the uneven floor, and for a split second, she's off kilter again. I'm on her before she can take a next breath, blocking the punch she aims at my throat. I catch her fist in mine and use her momentum to yank her forward. She slams against my chest, and the sensation of firm softness is divine. But I don't have time to enjoy it. Her other hand shoots out, connects a punch to my jaw. I shake off the pain. I've suffered way worse. Days of torture and unmentionable hellholes. I capture her other hand easily, and within a second the tables have satisfactorily turned. The zip ties I carry in my back pocket come out, and I've secured her before she can blink. Only then do I wrap my arm around her shoulders and pull her back flush against my body. And yeah, I'm the filthy bastard who nudges my cock into the small of her back, salivating as the top of her lush ass caresses my balls. Ah, Bella Mia, a croon in her ear. You should have gone with your original plan and shot me in the head. Now look where you are, my captive, mine to do with as I please. She struggles to free herself for a full 10 seconds before she stops, breathes out, shoots me a venomous glare over her shoulder. You're deluded if you think I'm going to beg for my life. Nor should you, Angel. You should only beg for pleasurable things, like my hands around your throat when I fuck you harder than you've been fucked in your life, or after I've edged you for hours and you can't stand it anymore. Only then should you beg, with enough tears running down this pretty face I can lick clean. The image of it is hot as fuck, and I don't hold back a depraved moan. She laughs, a delightful but mocking sound that tunnels straight to my cock. You sure you're not high? 'Cause you seem to be hallucinating things that will never happen. We'll see. I am curious, though, about you not begging for your life. You know why I'm here on this rooftop. And yet you're not asking for me to kill you in place of another member of your family. You love them enough to save them from me, but apparently not enough to die in their place, huh? I hear her teeth grind, and fractured emotions dart across her face. Fuck you. You know nothing about me. Just get this over with. Oh, all in good time. Where were you planning to take me? What? You mentioned other means of taking me out of commission without killing me. That means many things, but I'm guessing for you it involved stashing me somewhere until you decided what to do with me, possibly torturing me for information on what other contingencies I had for your family. You'll take me there. I'm watching her closely enough to see her reaction. She gives nothing away. Impressive. I have no idea what you're talking about. Take me there, I repeat, my voice now a deadly blade. Or I'll tie you up right here, and you can watch as I finish the job you so rudely interrupted. She stills, watching me from the corner of her eye, gauging to see if I mean it. Will it help if I count it down from 10? Fuck you. So impatient, I tut. All in good time, I whisper, right before I give in and draw my lips down the soft skin behind her ear, letting out the moan that's been building in my chest since she first spoke. Jesus, get the fuck off me, she snarls, and I catch her shiver. See the way her nipples peek against the stretch of her catsuit. 5. 4. What happened to you counting from 10? She snaps coldly. Yeah, you wasted it. 2. Fine, I'll make you a deal. 1. Sorry, sweetheart, the window for deals just closed. She swallows and I follow the line of her silky throat, saliva pooling in my mouth as hunger rips through me. The depth and ferocity of it make me frown. This feels more powerful than mere attraction. Sure, she's come closer to killing me than anyone else has all my life, bar the massacre that took my mother. Yeah, that heightened state of being close to death turns me fucking hard. Always. One of the other points of interest noted in my file, though that was recorded with more, PG language. And yes, now I know her identity, the stakes are even deliciously higher. But I shouldn't be this aroused, this keen to fuck. And not just anyone. Her, the Salvatore nemesis. And yet, I lean closer, breathing in her scent again. Fuck, she smells incredible. And she's already confirmed my suspicions of being an amateur. You've already blown through the first essential rules of effectively taking out your enemy. But seriously, don't you know you shouldn't wear identifying scents unless you want to be caught in 2 fucking seconds? She stiffens for a moment, then shrugs. Why does it matter? I shot you. If not for that vest you're wearing, you'd be dead. There's a little snag in her voice at the end of her response that gives her away. How many kills do you have under your belt, Angel? Enough. I told you not to call me that. Can we get on with whatever this is, please, or do you plan to kill me with chit-chat? So eager to die. So eager to show off this insane body to the Grim Reaper. Okay, why the fuck does saying that make me want to track down the Lord of the Afterlife and tear him limb from limb? Did I miss toxic fumes emanating from the cement on this rooftop? Because I must be losing my fucking mind. She swallows but doesn't speak. So I go to work. My fingers dive into her hair. So silky. Not enough to make a rope to hold her still while I ram into her, but more than enough to keep her trapped while she swallows my cock. Down her nape to the collar of her suit. What the hell are you doing? She strains to get away from me. Looking for hidden weapons. I watch her carefully as I speak. Or tracking devices. Her face remains passive. She's good. I shake my head at the trickle of pride and sadness that washes over me. Sofiya Mancinelli would have made a decent assassin with the right training. Shame she's fucked up tonight, and a few flaws that could have been corrected have sealed her fate. Because sadly, there's no way I'm letting her go. Or letting her live. She delivered herself into my hands like a message from hell. Or heaven. I can finally do what I've bided my time in doing. Avenge my mother. My hands travel down her arms and up again to her armpits. I follow the line of her body and swallow a groan when I confirm that, yes, my hands indeed can span her waist. Oh, this fixation would be fucking hilarious if she didn't have serious curves in seriously heart-stopping places. Hell, she makes Halle Berry look like a stick figure. My lower lip catches between my teeth when I reach her ass. Firm. Supple. My dick swells thicker when I imagine it between them. She ever been fucked in the ass? Oh, I'd kill if I know. My pants strain painfully when I drop into a crouch, and from this angle she's even more glorious. If you're thinking of using these heels on me, dude, she think again, because I won't be best pleased. You're wasting your time. I'm not carrying anything, she hisses when my hands drag slowly down one leg. I laugh. You could have said that before I started. I wouldn't have believed you, but now I know you're lying. 2 seconds later, I hit the jackpot. In her left boot, an ankle strap containing 6 lethal-looking sheet-thin throwing knives. In her right, I find something more interesting. A sleek black fob that looks like an electronic key with 2 tiny buttons. What's this for? Nothing you want to know, asshole. Oh, damn it, that just makes me want to know even more. I pocket the weapons and fob, then whipping another zip tie from my pocket, I tie her ankles together. What the hell? Rising, I cup her nape. I suggest, you stay very still. I'd hate for you to fall and bump your pretty head. I also suggest you don't do anything stupid like scream. You dressed the way you are has already given me filthy ideas. Toss in a ball gag, and we'll stray into uncharted territory where your safe word better be on standby. She glares holes in me as I stalk over to where I kicked her gun. I pick it up, examine and whistle. Glock 17 with an expensive suppressor. Not bad, Benamia. Not bad at all. This must have cost you a whole lot of pocket money, especially if you had it custom made. At her mutinous silence, I look up. She's teetering on her feet, struggling with the urge to remain still. Keeping her in my sights, I go over to where I set up my own gear, quickly break down my sniper rifle and stash it in my bag. I toss her gun in there, too. Bag in hand, I return to her. I stand close enough that she has to tilt her head up to meet my eyes. Slowly, I reach for the bottom of my mask and peel it off. My hair flops into my eyes, but I ignore it, more interested in her reaction. As I did with her, she suspected my identity from the Sicilian I dropped into our conversation. But perhaps, like me, she'd hoped she would be wrong. Her pupils dilate with part shock, part resignation as she sees me for the first time. I smile, in that way that's terrified many souls in their last moments. Unlike her, I'm a fallen angel of death, and I fully embrace my role in this life. Ciao, Ducci. Shall we start our adventure?
Chapter 4. Sofiya. I barely have a moment to get over my shock of confirming the enforcer's identity before he's bending low, tossing my bound body over his shoulder. Dear God. Rafaele Salvatore. Not just the Salvatore enforcer, but the enforcer. For the best part of a decade, a name that usually meant little more than the mafiosi's epitome of a big, scary guy had gained cult status on the pitch-black areas of the internet and the world. Before he'd ever carved out a rep as the world's most untraceable assassin, very few knew him to be, Rafaele Salvatore was already a legend. Scarier than Luca Brasi, deadlier than most made men ever dreamed of becoming. He didn't just enforce, he dismantled. He disappeared men without leaving bloodstains behind. Because, unlike the brutes who relied on muscle and mayhem, Rafaele operated on precision, patience, and a terrifying kind of restraint that only made the explosion worse when it came. As the shadow to his older brother Caesar, he'd never claimed a definitive title, had been seemingly content to assume the usual enforcer role for the ruthless delivery of justice and pain for the Salvatore organization. Entire crime families whispered about him like a curse word, a bedtime story gone wrong. And absolutely no one wants to see the unhinged assassin, the true enforcer, in their rearview mirror. I heard the whispers, of course, had gone looking for myself and failed many times. But I kept going because usefulness is currency in my family. One mistake, one weakness, and they cash you out. Maybe that's why I kept looking for the enforcer. Who else to learn from but the best? And I had to learn to be better. To carve out something sharp and terrifying in myself so I wasn't disposable. So no one, not even my grandfather, could look at me and see the lesser daughter. The girl who wasn't born first, or male, or enough. I didn't want admiration. I wanted immunity. but never in my wildest dreams did I think, shit. I was bluffing before, hoping he'd show his hand one way or another. While fervently praying the most lethal assassin in the world wasn't really on the rooftop a quarter mile away from my family's hideaway house, aiming his rifle at my brother's head. God, what if I'd been 5, 10 seconds late? Would Narciso be dead right now? I swallow, will myself not to shake, as the most sought-after assassin on the dark web walks me off the rooftop, taking me God knows where. When I got the alert from the mole that I pay eye-watering sums to keep me informed that the enforcer was sniffing around my family, I hoped it was a cruel joke. The confirmation that the threat was credible sent me rushing from my hideout in Queens. I'd spent the past 2 days utilizing my most prodigious skill and analyzing every possible place the assassin could hit from, leaving the clever little gadgets that would alert me of suspicious movement within a half-mile radius of my family home. It had been a wild shot in the dark, but worth it because I knew the general movements of the bodyguards my father employed, and the fact that since my grandfather attempted to assassinate his own granddaughter and her new husband, none of my sisters were allowed outside after 9 p.m. Having them all in one place helped because I knew the enforcer would strike here. When the sensor sounded, my heart dropped through the floor. Now it's somewhere near my ankles as he carries me off the roof and down several flights of stairs like I weigh nothing. My dry mouth turns to sawdust as he takes the stairs with the ease of a man confident of his surroundings, confident the predator has conquered his prey. Where are you taking me? I hate the tremor in my voice and pray he thinks it's because I'm upside down. I squeeze my eyes shut when a wave of dizziness washes over me, but I force them back open, remain alert. Come on now, you know better than that, Ducci. I grit my teeth at the lyrical endearment that rolls so smoothly off his tongue. Ducci, Sicilian for sweetheart, a term for lovers and benign relationships. Not toxic, decades-old, vendetta-craving characters in a macabre play that has seen several members of both our families dead in the ground, some as recently as a year ago, at the wedding of Caesar Salvatore to my older sister, Maddalena. Bitterness sweeps through the dizziness, souring my stomach. I'm not sure who I blame more for this. Maddie for deciding that, out of the billions of men on Earth, she would fall in love with Caesar Salvatore, firstborn grandson of our family's enemy, or my grandfather for the bloodlust he's kept stoked, even though it's ripped our family and countless others apart. To be fair, Orazio Salvatore holds more than his fair share of the blame. Between those two boneheaded, old-fashioned men, they've perpetrated the eye for an eye vinita, which shows no signs of dying anytime soon. And conveniently, Nonno has gone into hiding, leaving the rest of us to bear the brunt of his actions. Would they mourn me? Or would I become just the latest casualty of their war? If my poor mother dropped dead from the years-long stress she's been carrying, I'm 100% sure my father will barely mourn her for a week before he's back to carrying out Nonno's commands. My sisters would mourn me. Sure, we're not as close as other siblings, probably on account of the divisive nature and the sheer hell of living under Bonifacio Mancinelli's roof and thumb. But we don't hate each other, which is a plus, I guess. And I'm certainly not the warm and fuzzy type. A plus in my line of work, and essential in the role Bonifacio dropped me into on my 15th birthday. While other girls were fumbling with makeup and crushes, I was learning how to break bones and fake identities. From the moment my grandfather realized my ability, my life's goal was made clear. Every soft edge was to be filed down until I was all blade. I was different. I was useful. Sentiment was a liability. Empathy was weakness. Even now, when I catch glimpses of the girl I might have been, laughing freely, trusting easily, I shove her back into the shadows, because that girl wouldn't have survived. And the woman I am, who lately attempts to flex wings that have been long nailed down, she's still not sure she's allowed to want more than survival. I drag my morose thoughts from my family to the more dire situation at hand. You're going to kill me, aren't you? He doesn't reply, but I sense him contemplating the question. Is he pondering how he will do it? My heart lurches again when I relive squeezing that trigger. It isn't the first trigger I've pulled, but it's the first one that's been strictly personal. A decision made with fear and terror in my heart instead of on orders from my father or grandfather. And it's also a kill, a failed kill, made without first verifying my victim's identity. Victim. I swallow a hysterical snort. Rafaele is as far from a victim as Jupiter is from Venus. Why didn't you do it on the roof? I push. Too messy, sweetheart, he rasps. I lift my head when I realize we've reached the quiet street 3 streets away from my home. My sensor went off at 1 a.m., which means it's approaching 2 a.m. Years ago, Nonno bought all the properties bordering our family home in Connecticut and either gave them to his men who held positions in the family business or razed it to the ground in the name of security. The advantage was that no one could approach our home without being spotted by security. The disadvantage was that deadly assassins like the Enforcer could stroll in and out without encountering another soul. The house we've just left belonged to one of the lieutenants who was brutally massacred by the family of the man holding me prisoner now. Maybe even he did the killing. Desperation unravels down my spine as I fight the urge to ignore his warning and scream. Don't, he warns, his tone soft and deadly. Seriously, let's not ruin this adventure just yet, see? I open my mouth to tell him to fuck off. With my ankles and arms bound, my mouth is the only tool at my disposal right now. But he's lowering me to the ground, next to the electric sports car I drove here. Another wave of shock cannons through me. I'm not sure how he found it. I thought I'd hidden it well beneath the weeping willow a quarter mile away. Apparently not. Shit. In silence, I watch him pluck the fob from his pocket, accurately guessing which one of the buttons opens the car. He examines it, then arches his eyebrow at me again. When I don't answer, he pushes me to the ground with a callous shove. I land on my ass in the grass with an oomph and glare at him. Asshole. Insanely, stupefyingly hot asshole, with a body created for death and sin. My face heats at the recollection of the imprint of his cock against my ass. The Enforcer is packing a different kind of heat in his pants, the kind destined to leave a woman bow-legged and screaming for God and deliverance while secretly hoping both never come. He slides behind the wheel of my car and flicks on the interior light. I can't look away from his profile. The light shines on his jet-black hair, sexily rumpled from the mask he took off. There's a neatly trimmed stubble gracing his strong, square jaw, and his mouth. Fuck me. His mouth is made for the dirtiest kind of depravity. The feel of his hands tracing my body replays for the dozenth time, and I have to clench my belly to stop the shiver tickling into being. To distract myself, I side-eye the bag he dropped 10 feet away. He catches me looking. Ask nicely, and I might just show you my toys, baby, he says, his voice far too sexy. Before I snap a killer response, he turns serious. Programming the location of your stash house is amateur, even for you. So I'm guessing it's somewhere you visit often enough not to need a GPS? My lips flatten, refusing to dignify his smirking observation with a reply. The bastard is right, and we both know it. I underestimated him. Just a little. I was focused on his body count and his battlefield history, not the fact that he's wickedly clever in that unhinged, whiplash way that makes his smile feel like a blade slipping beneath my ribs. Above all, I didn't count on him being a Salvatore. He watches me for a moment, quiet, too quiet, then nods, like he's just made a decision I'm not going to like. You know, he says, conversationally, if I didn't know better, I'd think you wanted to get caught. I mean, roof access without a backup exit? Really? I've seen rookies with more survival instinct. He gestures to the passenger seat. Get up. Get in. Or I carry you like a bride, and we both know I'll enjoy that way more than you will. I hesitate, then climb to my feet. I calculate distance, the knives I strapped to the undersides of the driver and passenger seats, how quickly I can free myself from the ties, grab one knife and shove it under his ribs if he blinks wrong. But the eyes watching me mock my every strategy. He'll come out on top in every scenario, and fuck if he doesn't know it. Revel in it. His hand taps the top of the passenger door, and he hums a jazz tune under his breath as he waits, all sexy deadliness and maddening calm. I don't speak. I can't afford to. Not until I know where he's taking me. Then again, maybe I already do. I drop into the seat, my hands trapped under my ass. He grins as he secures my seatbelt, and I swear he takes a quick sniff of my hair. He drives, says nothing for 10 minutes, right until we've left my family's compound far behind. Then he pulls over, glances at me with that wolfish grin. My heart jumps into my throat. He's not going to kill me here. He's not. I need you conscious, but pliant. Cooperative's too much to hope for this early, I think. But we'll get there, won't we? He smirks, then his hand lifts, fast and deliberate. I barely have time to scream before his fingers press against a pressure point beneath my ear with surgical precision. I can only buck against his hold, my heartbeat roaring in my ears as my vision turns dark. Darker. As the world fades in slow, humming spirals, his voice is the last thing I hear. Don't worry, Beda. I'll take good care of you.
Chapter 5. Rafaele. She's laid out like something I stole from heaven and have no intention of giving back, on a double bed in my upstate New York safe house, lit only by the crackling fire and the low glow from the kitchen. My phone's been buzzing ever since I turned it on. I should answer Caesar. As the Salvatore Underboss, he has the right to reasonably demand my whereabouts. But these aren't reasonable circumstances. Certainly my inability to take my eyes off the captive beauty in my bed isn't reasonable. And Caesar, well, he owes me. He knows that. For the better part of a year I've kept my word. Not harmed a single Mancinelli capo, except the few who've made the error of stepping into Salvatore business. Sure, I've been tracking Giada Mancinelli's whereabouts, but it's as if she's turned into a ghost. But even ghosts can be hunted down. Eventually. With the right tools. And I'm starting to think I've found the perfect tool tonight. Unfortunately for both of us, Caesar is also an unreasonable fuck, especially with Maddie expecting their baby in the next month. So I intend to avoid him a little while longer. I stare at Maddie's little sister, attempt not to stroke my cock to the rise and fall of her full chest, like the pervert I most definitely could be. Hell, I could even convince myself I've earned it. She didn't try to kill me after all. I shake my head as my thoughts crash into each other. Her beauty is a study in contradiction. Soft curves, wrapped around concealed violence. Long, dark lashes fluttering against high cheekbones, even in unconsciousness. Deadly. Divine. A little too still even now. I checked her for weapons again, still I don't trust that she doesn't have a A vial of poison shoved in her pussy or an invisible garrote wire braided into her hair. It's kind of turning me on, the possibility that she could wake up and try to kill me. Again. I sit in the armchair across from her, sipping espresso as if I haven't just kidnapped the woman who aimed a gun at my skull less than 2 hours ago. Christo, she tried to kill me. My pulse spiked for all of 2 seconds, and then it got fun. I've interrogated enemy soldiers, tortured cartel traitors, broken war criminals who screamed for hours. But this is delicate, intimate, like trying to hold a cobra without getting kissed by its fangs. I know she's awake before she even opens her eyes. Her breathing changes just a little. That predator stillness tightens in the air. And then, "You drugged me," she spits, sitting up too fast and wincing. Good. She's disoriented. I grin around the rim of my cup. Nah, you don't remember? It was just a little pressure point trick. Old army thing. No hangover, no fuss. I'm thoughtful like that. I can teach you if you want. She glares at me without speaking, but I know her senses are on full alert, trying to catalog the room, the exits, me. I can practically see her calculating how long she'd last if she lunged for the fireplace poker behind me. The answer? Not long. But I let her keep thinking, because the longer she plays the game, the deeper she sinks into it. And I'm going to enjoy every second of watching her unravel. She shifts on the bed like a cat waking up from a nap, all grace and veiled danger. Or maybe she knows exactly what she's doing to me, capitalizing on her admittedly priceless asset, her fucking allure. I've been pistol whipped in the past. I sense I could be in the throes of discovering what it feels like to be pussy whipped. And I haven't even seen her pussy yet. Eyes wide open now, those cold, calculating depths, already trying to charm, to manipulate. God, I admire her hustle. I have places to be, she says, voice smooth, just a hint of husky from the pressure point knockout. She shakes a lock of hair off her forehead, glances toward the window like she's mapping every route out of here. You don't want to keep me too long, Salvatore. I'm not exactly low profile. I let the silence stretch, let her think it's working. Then I set my espresso down and leaned back in the chair, smiling like a wolf who just found a rabbit burrow. Oh, nice try, Betta. You seriously underestimate me if you think I'm some chump you can sweet-talk. You go off-grid for days without a trace. No calls, no contact. Not even to your sister or that crybaby brother of yours. You're really poor at that, by the way. She lifts her chin, eyes glinting. Off-grid doesn't mean offline. Not these days. Aren't you worried someone will come looking for me? I grin. Really? I hope they do. I'm all for turning this into a party. I drag my eyes over her, feeling another series of hot throbs when I watch her full, sexy mouth. I'll have to insist it doesn't get nasty, though, Betta. I'm not sure I'm willing to share you with another guy. Not now. Maybe not ever. Her eyes widen at my soft, deadly warning. Then she shifts. One hip juts out slow, deliberate, showing me her weapons. Showing me she's still in control, even if she's not. So what's the plan, then? Tie me up, torture me, get your revenge right here? Or in one of those rooms you're keeping as a happy surprise? You gonna make me beg, Rafaele? I rise from the chair slowly, not rushing the moment. Enjoying it far too much that she's watching me like she doesn't know if I might strike or kiss her. Maybe both. I cross the room and stop at the edge of the bed where she's stilled now. Eyes narrowed, tied hands fisting the blanket like she's debating how fast she can use it as a weapon. I tuck my hands in my pockets and lower my voice. I'm prepared to spare Narciso, I say. Her brows lift, but she doesn't interrupt. The women in your family, hell, even your father if he doesn't make any stupid moves to inconvenience the Salvatores. But only if you give me one thing. She waits,